Alright, so let's look at this first quote here. The findings of this case study show that teachers do not use technological tools to teach English because they do not have enough facilities to incorporate them in the EFL classroom. As a consequence, they use traditional methods that do not have such great impact on students' performance. So what this is telling us is that teachers in general are not using technology because the facilities are not being provided to them. And the consequence of that is that traditional methods, so textbooks, is what is being used in the classroom instead of technology. And the second quote here, teachers show poor knowledge of other types of technological tools and little enthusiasm to make their English classes more attractive for students. In fact, the main resource used in the classroom is the student's textbook, which demonstrates their preference for traditional printed material. So here we see that textbook pop up. So what's happening is that these authors are claiming that teachers are showing little enthusiasm to make their classes more attractive to students. This is another scenario where I feel that some liberties are being taken, as I did not see any evidence in the research itself that teachers did not care about the classes being attractive. So I guess that's one thing that they could have improved on. Let's continue. We're going to see two more quotes here. More training for teachers in how to use technological tools for teaching English as a foreign language is needed because in this way the traditional teaching process will be replaced by more dynamic, interactive, and collaborative approaches. And let's read the second one. Technological tools are recommended to be used by teachers as supplementary resources because thanks to them, students can learn the English language more easily. Additionally, effective use of technology gives teachers the opportunity to show students how thousands of activities and games bring dynamics and fun into the classroom. So what we're seeing from these two quotes here is specifically some technological tools that are being recommended, and it simply says that supplementary resources should be utilized, and that as a result of these, English language is easier to learn. And let's go ahead and continue. Some assumptions that were made, usefulness and importance of technology in general. We've kind of been going over this throughout the presentation, but the usefulness and importance of technology, there's about half a page of lit review that addresses this, less than half a page, and I personally do not feel that that is enough time to really put any foundation on the usefulness of technology. And you can read that quote there if you'd like. It just kind of proves my point. And then last thing, the authors in some scenarios seem to think that we knew more about the study and the subject. Now, assuming that your readers know more about the subject can be appropriate if you're publishing to an ESL journal and you expect them to know about ESL. However, the fact that they expected us to know more about the study without telling us was a little frustrating. This over here, little picture up there, might be a little harsh, but you know, just to make the point that assumptions are not useful when trying to print a scholarly article. Some limitations. Again, this little image up here in the right hand corner might be a bit harsh, but there were a lot of limitations here, and we've already discussed most of these, so I'm just going to go through this quickly. That's methodology. The researcher simply said the data was analyzed, the difference between those observation sheets and the classroom observations. And then in the results, we talked about how answers were given to questions that weren't asked, or in this case, unclear questions. A lot of details were missing. There were a lot of situations where I had questions that needed to be answered to understand the article fully, and I have a few examples of questions there. And then definitions don't exist in this article. There were no real definitions to technology, to just any of the main components. And this is where I would like to invite you to just think about the article. What do you think of the article? And I've really done a good job of explaining the limitations, but I think it's good to realize that this article has brought up a really good point, that in Ecuador and in a lot of foreign countries, technology is not very available, and it can have ramifications such as institutions not providing technology, which leads the teachers to use more traditional approaches like textbooks, which are not as effective when it comes to interactive components that are necessary for English language learning. So really thinking through what are the good aspects of this article and how can it be applied. This is a really great beginning point for some excellent studies to be done in this area in the future if the limitations are addressed and the articles are published properly. So I would love to see more examples of articles like this, and I will leave you at that. Feel free to comment on the article or any thoughts you had, and I will see you soon.